Hello, and welcome to episode 182 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Oh, what a difference a week can make, eh? First, we've got Jack on, so that's the difference. And after a lovely 4-0 win last week, we come to you off the back of a less lovely 4-0 loss for Sheffield Wednesday, which we're going to talk you through everything to do with today. But before we do that, as we always do, we have to ask around the group how our week has been. And I'll start with you, Jack, returning to the Talking Wednesday podcast. How has your week been, my friend?
Yes, not been too bad. I mean, nothing really groundbreaking to report. Just kind of like, I don't know, capitalizing on recent things happening and just that.
Doesn't dream when it's warm.
Yeah, that's funny. That made me laugh. That did make me laugh.
Neither do you two, thank you.
Yes, I do.
Actually. Yes. Ooh, I'm going to stream in my nice thing where I've got an air conditioning unit. Not all of us have that luxury, Jake. But yeah, just kind of working on things and getting things set up and just that. Nothing really interesting. How about you? How we?
We'll move to Jake. I will say for the viewers of the podcast, I just watched very uncomfortably Jack inhale 3 muffins, and I wanted to put that.
They were Asda mini muffins. Other brands are available.
Yeah, but
it's the only thing I've eaten all day, and it's going to be the only thing that I will eat until
Jack,
like 6 p.m.
You
today.
took them in your palm and just entirely inserted them. It's more of a way you ate the muffin. You inserted the whole thing into your mouth like it was a crisp.
Chewed 3 times and then swallowed. Yes, because
it didn't look like that. It looked like you kind of just went oh and inhaled.
Yes.
But anyway, just thought that'd be a good little, good little bit of levity for the audience.
You know what, James? It's 2024. I thought like fat shaming was in the past, but I see
it's making a comeback. Apparently, it's making a comeback. I'm going to be the new host of Fat Families. Yeah, it's making a comeback. Fat shaming. Well, I mean, did you not know?
Biggest loser clearly was us today. Some of
the
Prem games get, even bigger scorelines, but there we are.
Jake, how's your week been, mate?
Not been too bad. I got caught out by this stupid bloody shirt and queuing for 1 hour and 5 minutes to buy it.
Mine's still not here.
Pardon?
Mine's still not here.
Yeah. Got caught out by that, but it's been a good week. It's just finalising some little bits and pieces that I want to get done and just trying to... Oh, Hunter can now walk nearly. So I'm going to have a toddling, not even 1-year-old yet. So that's going to be fun. It's one of the ones where we're trying to like make sure we can get everything done and everything sorted, because comes after September, it goes back to normal routine and like other half go back to work. So it's getting back into that mindset of going, right, this has got to happen, that can happen. Because it can be really weird because she's been at home for like 10 months and then the house can be empty again with me and a baby, so it can be odd. So I'm trying to get my mindset back into that kind of, right, this is what you got to do, make sure this is fine and stuff. And yeah, it's weird because my brain's not there yet. My brain's in like, oh, it's still maternity. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, that's come around really quick, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's won in December, so it come really quickly. You got to think it's September now.
It feels like yesterday that you were being like overly grumpy and
yeah, this time last year I was just being a grumpy sort.
I thought he was going to be on one today because he messaged me telling me I'd used the wrong Sunderland badge.
Yeah,
and then he gave me this at
the moment technically not for like 1 year or 2 years.
Yeah, and he went to me. Anyway, he was like, fans get annoyed when we use the wrong badge, and I was just like, I kind of like, I said it levity, but it obviously doesn't come across like this over text. I went, it's not that deep, and he literally then. I could tell it got his back up, and then later on, he kind of realised that they're not using the badge yet. So I saw him slowly start to backtrack, and I was like, I was never that bothered, Jake. I wasn't trying to like.
How's your week, mate?
I've been ill, really poorly this week.
Oh, you got man flu, didn't you?
Yeah, it's when I change like inhaler or something. I think it's like, because it's a different steroid.
Yeah.
I'm on roids. It
start a trend cycle. That's the only way you'll get muscular in this day and age. Apparently, from what I've been told.
It doesn't react well with my throat. So, last year when I changed an inhaler, I got tonsillitis, and it had happened the year before as well. But this year, I thought it was coming on again. But I kind of got on top of it in terms of like throat sprays and stuff like that. So it didn't develop that. It just was really a really bad cough. It started last week, obviously, when I was on the podcast, because I was muting myself to cough. But it like got to a point where I'm exercising a lot now, but like,
you're using anything called lungs.
Yeah, but midweek, like I couldn't like do a rep without coughing, so I was like, oh, that's not ideal. So I gave myself a little bit of rest, and just went into it and feeling all right now. I've still got like a little bit of a cough, but like it doesn't look all gross and disgusting anymore, so I can talk and not splutter everywhere. But yes, I'm not impressed with today, or we will get into all of that. I'm sure we will. We'll actually do it in that order then, lads. So into the football side of it, let's talk about Sunderland first. We'll go back to Hull, so maybe we can end it on a positive in terms of the actual match talk. But Jake, as we always do, our man that runs us through the game, please talk us through that game against Sunderland that we've just witnessed.
First 10 minutes, we looked like the team versus Plymouth. And then dubious foul, but it's a foul. Get the free kick, and again, to start it straight away, Windass did the foul, and then he's not looking who's at the back post. It's a free header. We spoke about this so much last season about being smarter on the set plays, and it seems like they're still not there quite yet. And it's little things like that you seen from last season go, right, why has that not been picked up during the whole of pre-season that this needs to be worked on? Yeah. Their second goal is Windass just not thinking. When you're not flicking the ball on for someone, I could see what he's trying to do. He's trying to flick it to Lowe, but he's not looked behind him to see where Lowe is. And what he's done then, he's opened it up so the two holding midfielders in Bannon and Ingleson, they hadn't been anywhere near it, so he's left a massive
but
gap.
It's also just he's let the gap he's left has just meant that it's a simple pass to split the defence, and no one can do anything about it. And then Beadle's literally facing so which way are you going to put this round me? And it's so unfortunate. Like I don't think Beadle played badly at all today. I think he pulled off a cracking save, and he's had 4 put past him. But yeah, sorry, carry on. So that was the second goal.
That's the second goal, and then the third, it's just another set piece, but Windass needs to be pushing up further. He needs to be pushing up further and looking where his man is. It's all right putting your arm up after the fact, but it's done then. He was playing him on with his shoulder.
There was no reason for him to be there. I looked at that, and that's laziness. And that's why I got furious in terms of he needs to be took off this pitch purely because that was it was during the stream. Do you remember at that time I was saying, do we make the change on when it was 2-0? I said, do we make the change on Windass now because it's clearly not having a good game, or do we make it until 3-0 and we have to make the change? And then literally like a minute later, he keeps them on side and it's 3-0. And I'm like, okay, so he's got to bring him off now, but the damage had already been done and he didn't take him off. And then we go into half time, don't we, Jake? And he doesn't take Windass off, which for me is a big thing.
He put Smith on for Gassama, which I think was right.
Yeah, I do.
Really struggled, but
I think Gassama struggled because of Valerie. I don't think Valerie got into this game. I don't know if you agree with that. Yeah. I think Valerie really struggled today.
The only goal that they really did well from was actually the goal they made in the second half, because it was a really good crafted goal.
That's the only one that wasn't just gifted to him on a solo.
But I will say again, Valerie should be further back. He's an attacking fullback, which is fine. But then once they're past him, he needs to bust a gut to get back there, and he didn't. And I think if you are in a tight game with intensity, you do get back there. So for me, Valerie could have done better there. I'm not saying it's his fault, but it's again a case of, because it's a good goal. It's a well-worked goal. It's a goal that, for me, didn't come from a mistake, but where Valerie could have done better is getting further back faster.
We did go, but it was offside, which I think we've all forgotten about Ingleson getting the ball in back in there.
That could have changed the game.
I think if that sticks, that changed the game completely. But at 4-0, it was done. I don't know what you think, Jack.
Like, what's really, really annoyed me is that Sunderland themselves were no better than Hull were during the week. It's just that there was after that first sort of 10 minutes, it felt like there was a bit of a hubris that set into the team. Like, oh yeah, we know what we're doing. We're not going to properly pay attention and give attention to detail to everything. Hence, Josh Windas's little flick. Oh, the laziness of, I'm going to play him on side. Oh, I mean, look, we also have to say that if Team GB were watching this, they're not going to be worried about who Tom Daly's replacement's going to be now that he's retired, because they saw that in Jack Clark. But he was just fishing for fouls. It was infuriating. But overall, it just really wound me up by there's so many just errors in judgment. Like Masaba, the sloppy ball control, and so many of them were just literally stumbling over the ball at the feet all the time. And I just thought, is this Sunday League? What's going on? How can that be the same team that played against Plymouth and was so clinical and on it? And yet today it was like it's like they hadn't woken up. It's like they thought they were still asleep from Saturday night. It
wasn't Sunday League, it was Sunday Land, and they very much capitalised on our mistakes. And I do feel like it's one of those, it's interesting because their fan base, we've done a few pieces on them recently because of the Sunderland links, and there's always a good rapport between the fan bases. And before this match, they were going, "You're going to batter us. I don't know why you're coming into this with thinking that it might be close. You're going to beat us. We are not good." And I was like, I actually thought we could get a result here. And the problem is they are always going to press. And I think, look, I think they're going to do well this season. I predicted them 5th in the championship table, by the way. They were my wild card for it, just if they get things right, okay? So they can't start on me, all I'm saying. But I do think we flattered them today with the mistakes. If you don't give them the game in 20 minutes through individual mistakes, you have more of a foothold in the game. But after that, there's a panic that sets in. So when we talk about the entire team, this is why it's like when people are saying and I'm not trying to get at Windass, he's been a big game player. I've got a lot of respect for him. But in this game, he should have been taken off, especially at half time. He cost us those goals. And I think even he would say he cost us that game purely because it was lost within 20 minutes, because then you're always trying to scrap things. The players are going to be less composed on the ball, and you saw that we couldn't get a foothold into it. I think after the first goal, you saw a little bit of that setting in, but it got worse and worse, and the players were panicking. And then when players like Valerie don't have a great game, we're talking about Gassama not really getting into the game. Yes, he was slightly offside, but he got a cross that led to a goal for Ingleson, right? And I know it was an offside goal, but when he was available on the ball, he can make things happen. But Valerie had a poor game today. It was a complete opposite to what I saw against Plymouth. Paul came on for him in the second half, and I thought Paul looked completely better when he looked like a fish out of water in midweek. It's a crazy one.
The thing is, for me, I said last week, I worry again when we come against a team that press. I said Plymouth wouldn't show up much. I thought midweek Hull did a little bit of that, but a little bit the same as their mistakes. We capitalised on, and we'll talk about that later. I would worry when we came up against a team that press, similar to what we do, but then we can't counter it to do our own pressing. We did well for the first 10 minutes, and then the moment we couldn't get into the groove, the rhythm, it all went. Everyone was making sloppy mistakes. No one could keep hold of it. Jamal Lowe kept on trying to run it into the corner to try and keep it there and have something, but no one was following up. Like last week, someone was following up, ready to have the ball. When Smith came in at half time, all that following up and having someone near him started to materialize. You started to see crosses coming into the box. You started seeing people do little 1-2 passes. You started seeing that momentum that we've seen from Plymouth and Hull, where the quick flick, done, go, move, go, move. And I think it's very interesting that Guy picked up on that. Danny Rule and Henrik was sitting on the bench trying to figure out tactics. Now, what a lot of people don't know, is you're a rival fan, our sports psychologist is the one that does the team talks normally. Danny will sit and talk tactics out with his assistant, while the sports psychologist will do the team talk. It's been how it is. The problem is that if we play like this, where team press us, anyone will get at us. But the thing is, game 2, I'd rather us have this game and Danny see where all the mistakes are and go, right, we're working on this, this, and this. And then after the Millwall game, he got like an international break coming up to go, right, we're still poor here. Why are we still poor here? We've done this during the thing. This is why we played all the preseason against teams that press us. This is why we went for a heavily pressed team every game, pretty much. If you looked at all our preseason games, the teams that get in our faces.
The thing you tend to find with teams that press and play in this system, if you come up against a team that do it, it's usually the team with the better players that do it, that see it through. Today, it seemed like we were screaming out for someone to get a hold of that midfield. Where the hell were the defenders going to go when you've literally got Windass dropping back? And then because him and Ingleson were swapping positions, I think out of a case of not really knowing where to put themselves. Get Chalobah in that midfield when he is fit. Put him in there, have him holding, let him do all the work that a defensive midfielder does, free up Bannon, and just give someone the stability in that midfield. And for me, I'm sorry, but Windass should not start for the next few games. It should be a case of we secure that midfield. Ingleson has showed enough that he can be the 10. Put Ingleson as the 10 and just drop Windass and have a holding midfielder in there, because we need more structure. We need more stability. You can't have players... you can't have players that it goes to in the midfield. They do a fancy flick and give it away, right? Okay. You need one of those players to be the sensible holding player that plays it. Every team needs a Jordan Henderson, right? We need that in there. We haven't got it.
I think it'll be very interesting to see what we do in the market the next 2 weeks, because it looks like we are looking in that position. If you actually look at the depth in midfield, it's where we are the weakest. If you look at it as a whole. Now, for me, you get that holding midfielder in with depth. I'm kind of gutted he didn't bring Olaf on. I thought Olaf could have, even at 4-0 down, it giving him a bit of a run at players.
I felt that was the time. I thought I didn't want to bring him on too early, because I was like, he's still trying things, but he should have definitely come on at some point, in my opinion.
Danny turned around and said, "I take responsibility for such a defeat of manager. I will look to see if we did everything right and prepare for such a game. But this is football, and now we move on."
Yeah, I tell you what, Sky, focus on that. Danny Rull is a terrible manager. He's just taken all responsibility for a 4-0 loss. So nobody ever needs to be interested in him, all right? Yeah. Base everything you think about Danny Rull off today's performance.
He said, "This is football. It's now important that we show a reaction and stay together." And the thing is, Danny's had this from this team now. He's seen them have this where they don't turn up and then they turn up again. This season is about consistency. This season is about trying to make things work. But the thing is, Josh isn't that CDM. You could tell with that flick on. That's what you do when you're attacking mid and you're flicking it onto your strike partner, not when you're in the middle of the park.
Yeah. Jack, you got anything to add on that?
It's just interesting that everyone wants to praise Danny Rull, but then Wednesday play well under him, and then it's all about how bad the other team were last Sunday. Not about how well we played.
I actually genuinely thought the commentary would be about the mistakes, but it wasn't. It was all about how fantastic Sunderland were, and I was like, there's a bit of an agenda here, isn't there?
It was odd. It was really odd, because it was so many all over social media, because I was manning the Talking Wed. If you're not following already, go and follow the Twitter account, or X, whatever you want to call it these days. But I was like seeing all of the stuff, and it's odd how the commentary was all about how good Sunderland were being and how dominant they were, and it was the stark comparison on social media from the sensible people who were then saying, well, actually, this should be 0-0 or this should be 1-0. And even then, if we weren't going in at half-time in the deficit, I don't think that the players would have switched off to the point of gifting them that goal in the second half.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre.
That came from that second goal, by the way, came from a forced change of play, because we started playing it long, and it came from that. If we'd have been able to play our system, we wouldn't have actually conceded that fourth goal. Yeah. So that's the crazy thing, because by playing it out from the back, we didn't really make any sort of like errors in terms of the defense. It was more of a case of we know where they're playing out from the back came wrong when Windass did what he did. But it's a case of
that save Beadle did was outstanding.
It was immense.
It was superb. It was absolutely fantastic, because it was unsighted and it was off Ingleson's shin, the deflection, and for him to get down to that, like,
I don't think Beadle did that bad today.
Beadle wasn't. Yeah, Beadle was fine.
I've seen some people like dig Beadle out, and I think the thing is, you're gonna have it where you can tell that we're not still used to playing out from the back yet, because it's still a little bit slow.
Beadle is though.
But Iorfa made some silly mistakes today. Looked a bit out of it. The annoying thing is, Iorfa, when he came off, was holding his knee a little bit, so I hope that's not him doing.
I actually think when we talk about mistakes, do you remember that whack he took in the first half? I think a lot of people forgot about that, and and I saw people in my chat in the stream going, Iorfa's just not good enough to play at this level. And I was like, he took a whack in the first half.
It was when he was on the floor for ages. He was like clutching at his abdomen because I think he'd got winded or something, like a big elbow in the sternum or something like that. And that's always going to knock you. Like if you can't breathe,
I think at the end of the day,
do any sort of physical
we will learn
activity.
from this.
Yeah,
we'll learn from this, and Danny will put them. He'll put them in front of the greens on Monday and going, right, where do we go wrong? And it wouldn't surprise me if there's at the end of watching it going, Josh, come sit in my office, let's have a chat. And go, let's not beat ourselves up about it. One game.
I really don't want to. I'm gonna struggle if he's in the lineup against Leeds, but I think he will be, and I don't think he should be. I don't know what you boys think on that.
The only way you get him in that lineup is if you put him in an attacking midfield role.
You mean a wide midfield role?
No, attacking mid right behind.
But when he swapped with Ingleson, and he still wasn't good.
Yeah,
this is what I'm saying. Did you not remember in part of the game today where they swapped?
I know what you mean. It's just then who are you taking out? Are you taking Gassama out of that?
I'm not taking Windass. I'm not putting Windass in at all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like Windass doesn't get in that side at the minute. He had such a bad performance. He shouldn't play the next match. Do we know how far Chalobah's off?
I think it's in the document.
Because we can talk about that now. We'll move it up because that's important.
I was just going to say as well, though, I think probably
we need to talk about Hull before
we
will talk about Hull. Yeah,
was making those comments after the game about taking ownership of the defeat and whatever else because he knew that maybe, I don't know, maybe Josh Windass was quite feeling quite negative about.
I'm sure he is, and I'm not trying to. This is what I was saying. I was trying to be really careful.
That in the press to then take the attention away from that because he knew that they all probably knew that there'd be a bit of a not a scapegoating per se, but that people might have been a bit vicious about Windass and his performance today, and so I think he's kind of Danny's done that to soak up that an element of that away from Josh, to protect him basically, and I just think, but the thing is, I think Wednesday fans need to understand with how much of an overhaul this has been over the summer. It wasn't going to be all sunshine and rainbows to begin with. Like we weren't going to hit the ground a bit and have won the league by Christmas because if people thought that, they'd be very naive. But it's going to take like it did with Carlos back in 2015 and 16. It took until November for them to properly gel together, and then it was a ridiculously different looking, great side, and. I sort of feel like that amount of time is what it's going to take to get this lot playing together in a very coherent way and be regularly playing like they did against Plymouth. It's all about gelling. It's all about bedding in and getting used to each other because there's been a big overhaul,
There is that as well, but for me, it's just like let your best players play. Like you put and I know Josh has been great for us and stuff, and I think he still will be. I think he's got a massive part to play. He's a big game player. Play him in those big games. But like when you see someone like Ingleson, who I feel is our future as an attacking midfielder, he should have that spot, and we need to bring the defensive in. So before we talk about Hull, I couldn't find it in the doc scanning it, Jake. Do we know about Chalobah? Because he, for me, comes in and he has to settle it down.
Chalobah, Akin has a small injury. Chalobah, it's in document.
It's all right, don't matter. Just say what it is, because I say what it is, and we'll talk about it now. Because
he said that Akin and Chalobah are not going to be too long out. Nathaniel also has a small one. We must look week to week. Now it happens. That is for the reason we need depth in the squad. It gives a chance for the young players to show up. Yeah.
And I think it's a case of we are going to talk about it later. Wednesday are interested in more midfielders. So I think it's all about, I don't know. It's hard. Jack, would you start Windass next game?
No, I would not. I don't think, it's linking to the whole game, but I think, and also last Sunday, but I think Kabaki still needs to get used to the physicality of this league because the league he's just come from is not very physical in the slightest. It's all just very, they attack, you win the ball in your final, your third, you attack, vice versa. It's all very like that in the league he's come from. So I think he needs to get used to that side of the game over here. I would actually give Sean Fuzier a chance because he was
not versus Leeds.
Very good.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not versus Leeds.
I don't know.
It could be a good shout. It could be a good shout for him, but if it goes wrong, That's a lot for a confidence booster. I get your point because he did do very well against Hull. He did very good against Hull. And that whole thing is you're good enough, you play.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Leeds is the best game to introduce him to.
It's quite rough, that. Yeah. Then again, Kabatsky against Leeds.
If you've been watching Leeds.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that after we've just had a 4-0 loss, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? 'Cause it's like, it's going to be the meme that you can't really say on a podcast anyway, but about two idiots fighting, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And that's literally going to be, that's going to be Leeds, isn't it? And Leeds and Wednesday on Friday. I still think we could probably do it. We just need to not make stupid mistakes. So for me,
it's at home as well, so the crowd will help.
Yes.
Yeah.
You play, but I don't think Windass starts. I think you play Bannon. If you have to play Ingleson as a central midfielder alongside him, you do. I think it's hamstringing him. I think he's going to be a lot better in that 10. But you could potentially do this: play your back four, replace Valerie for Paul, or you just accept that Valerie had a bad game, and if he performs well in training, you give him another chance. Right? You put Bannon and you put. It will say Shalaba's not fit. Ingleson in midfield. You play Jamal Lowe as your 10. You play Gassama on the right. You play Masaba on the left, and you start Ugbo up top, and that's your starting lineup.
You're not starting Ugbo yet, though.
I feel like you would. I feel like
Danny turned around and said he won't be starting for a while. He's not got the load yet.
We'll put McNeil up front then.
Yeah. He impressed against Hull, McNeil.
Yeah.
So I think, you know what? He may be really young, but he looked ready to me to step up if needed. So I'd be happy with that.
Masaba isn't shocking. I've seen that in the chat. Masaba's touch and his decision making sometimes, but he's one of those players that when it clicks, he's gonna click. I feel when it does click, it's gonna happen, and I think he does so much to make life difficult for defenders. You want that in your side, but everybody else has to do their job if you've got that player. Do you know in every squad you've got a liability attacking wise that causes a liability for everyone else on the pitch? That's when you need your more defensive midfielders and stuff to set in, and it allows more for that. But then you've got the spark of players.
We had a player called Luongo who was perfect at doing what he did.
He's ridiculous, man. He's in the Premier League, right? And he was he was just spent his time with us on the bloody injury bench.
Yeah. You are looking for that kind of player next, though. You need someone who can be in there and break it up. We just don't have that at the minute.
I reckon.
Luongo had it all, though. He could go forward and everything. It was, yeah. But yeah, I don't know if you don't, because for me, it's like people say, say Masaba. Yeah, I'm not putting Masaba in straight away. But like, if you don't, what you're putting out on wide apart from Gassama, Windass, and Windass doesn't deserve it for me at the minute. Give him a couple of games and bring him back in, but just rest on the bench for now, please.
Yeah.
You know when a player's trying like too hard and then keeps making mistakes because he's trying too hard all the time?
Yes.
That's sort of what Masaba felt like he was doing today.
Yeah.
Where he was trying way too hard and overthinking certain things and then making mistakes because of that.
Yeah, he's always looking for the shot first, which is nice. But there's times where if he was scanning the area quicker and he'd see that
the quickly,
the cross is on before he could line up for a shot. But by the time he's took the other shot and dragged it for a shot, and then he lays it off, it's not as good a position. He needs to get that into his game. But you don't get finished. This is what I'm saying. We're in the Championship. You don't get a player like Masaba with his pace and his ability to beat a man if he's consistent. If he's consistent, he doesn't play for Sheffield Wednesday at our level, and that's what we have to. That's what you have to get your head around as a Wednesday fan. For players that you've got to give him that opportunity. We are the club that he becomes that at, and hopefully we can be as successful in the other areas of the pitch that by the time he has become the complete article, we're at the top with him. Otherwise, he's going to become that, and he will go because he won't play for us at this level if he becomes that. So be careful what you wish for in that way. The rest of the squad has to basically supplement a liability, but a liability that could be the star player.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we talk about Hull for a bit of positivity?
You know, Hull was insane because it started off so well. Like McNeil was just like, right, I'm having that, thank you. And I think the build-up play for that goal was really good. Great crossing by Paul, who got the ball, attacked him, crosses it, Smith with the back heel, bang, goal. You're like, that settled the nerves. But then the whole City's goal they got was a mistake again. It was another mistake by us at the back. And people blame Charles. It wasn't Charles' fault.
No.
I thought Charles had an okay game.
If anything.
I think Charles had a good game. Yeah, Valentine went for the jump and just missed it.
Charles did make a mistake in the second half, but we weren't punished.
Yeah, and then McNeil just pounced on the goalkeeper, just not thinking and not working right. I thought versus Hull, we soaked up a lot of pressure in the second half. We didn't really get out of it. Once we got those 2 goals, like, right, we're going to have this and that's going to be it. We didn't really get anywhere else up the field. And that's the issue you've got. Well, you saw that today. If a team comes and presses us, Hull pressed us, didn't get what they deserve. Sunderland pressed us and got everything. Yeah. This is where Danny can go to the drawing board and go, right, when we're pressing here, what do I need to tell the players to do to make sure this doesn't happen? So you can not have that. Like someone has said, if you press Wednesday, they'll make a mistake. And at the moment, they're right. We will make mistakes because we've sometimes not got that mobility in Bannon at time to just be there. And then there's also the thing where you're waiting for someone to get in position while the press is happening. And you can tell it's a work in progress. It will come good when you see it does work. But I think if we have teams that press us, we have to be very wary about how we play.
I think what was most impressive about Hull, though, is it was an entirely second 11. It was our second team playing with the intensity and the press and the tactics of a Danny Rule system. Every player in this squad knows what they have to do, which is why today was unacceptable with the individual mistakes. Because you can see when an entire second string of 11 can play the football that Danny wants, and you can beat a Hull side that only made 2 or 3 changes. Yeah, they went really strong in the cup, and we beat them with our second 11.
Yeah, and that was their first, pretty much their first 11 as well. Hull's first team. So that's even more impressive that we have that sort of second 11 option that probably will hold up against a lot of the sort of mid-table championship teams.
Exactly. That's why I feel like McNeil should have had a chance today because he did really, really well against it. But then again, he did get a knock and he came off.
I was going to say, could it have been that he was resting him just because that knock he had?
The game was already lost, wasn't it? Yeah. Now the way I look at that, the game was already lost against Sunderland. Don't risk McNeil by bringing him on. That makes sense.
That's why he brought on Smith and Ugbo. And when Ugbo did come on versus Hull, he did try and hold it up and try and move it about a bit. But again, you know that he's not 100% mat fit yet. So we'll see.
Do you want to read us through the stats? Wouldn't read us through the Hull stats first, then we'll go into the Sunderland.
Yep. Hull had 12 shots to our 9. They had 4 on target. We had 3. 5 shots on off target and 4 off. For us, we had 2 corners to their 11. So that shows you how much they attacked. 13 fouls to their 9. Aerial duel, 1 though, 11 by us, 9 by them, and 2 saved by Charles and 1 by their keeper.
Yeah, and we were. It shows how clinical we were when it came to our chances, and that was the big difference. And then
if you come to Sunderland, 14 shot to our 8, 5 on target to our 3, 4 off target to our 1, 4 and 5 block shots. They had 3 saves to our 1, so we did make the chances. We just we weren't clinical enough. But they won all the aerial duels. We could made the most fouls. But again, 7 corners to their 5, and we haven't made the most out of them. This is it. Making the most out of
this is why I'm saying I don't understand why there's so much like, Sunderland battered them, right? Look at the stats. Right. This is why I'm saying, why is nobody from any position sort of like reporting and Sky's reporting, talking more about the mistakes? Yeah. Look we had more possession. Yes, it was even, but we had 50.4 possession to their 49.6. That is an even game. So you can't say that it wasn't the mistake. It killed us in 20 minutes. Right. Yeah. And that's why I am getting a bit stuck on this fact, because it seems like people aren't acknowledging that, and it winds me up a little bit. I'm not going to lie. The mistakes cost us this game, and I don't understand the narrative around it at all. Really, I've got a lot of respect for Sunderland fans. I think we all know that. There's a lot of respect between the fan bases, but like
we've done a lot of videos with them in our titles at times this summer.
Yeah, exactly. But
the thing is, as well, it's not that. I've actually read the majority of Sunderland fans say they can't believe they won it 4-0. They didn't think they deserved that at all.
And I was seeing it at half time.
They've been saying that they've been battered. It's just these like sort of people with a lot of outreach, if you will, that seem so unwilling to actually say something nice about that Wednesday as a club. And
we didn't deserve any plaudits today, obviously.
No, obviously, but just as in a larger sense, like why can't you give credit sometimes where it's due? Why is it like a I'm gonna catch something if I give praise towards that club, if I say something positive about that club? I don't get the like negativity, if you will. It seems very bizarre.
All we gotta do is hope that Danny sits them down, gets them to watch the stuff, and we work on everything.
Exactly.
And go from there.
Yeah.
I say you're in tomorrow, you're doing recovery, you're doing breakdown, give them a day off on Tuesday, and then or half a day off on Tuesday, but in get ready for Leeds, because Leeds is there. If you bounce back at Leeds, it's massive, right?
Yeah.
Let's get to the championship review. So this is how the games went this week. Coventry 3, Oxford 2.
That was by Will Volks.
Yeah, Will Volks costing Oxford there with a back pass. Doing a Josh Windass, felt sorry for him today. Did the same thing. West Brom 0, Leeds 0, Derby 1, Middlesbrough 0. That's the result for Derby. Portsmouth 0, Luton Town 0. Luton not doing very well with a red card in that game as well. Bristol 4, Millwall 3. That was crazy. That was a late goal winner as well, that match. Plymouth 1, Hull City 1. So Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle getting a point after Hull obviously lost to us in the cup. So
he is not a manager, is he? Like, let's be real. He's anyway.
I think he will be. I think he's got the persistence. I think he might drop all the way down
to realise actually. Anyway, sorry. The whole discussion.
That's all right. That's fine. Swansea 3, Preston 0. So Preston, I got a bit of stick for saying they'd be 13th this season. They could finish lower. They have not started the season well.
Preston's caretaker manager quit yesterday.
Yeah, he quit after a game.
He said, I'm not doing this.
Wild.
I'm off. Bye.
Absolutely wild.
That is mental.
One game, and he's like, nah, I'm not going to apply for this permanently. Wild. Well, I wonder what's going on there. Something's happening there that's not good.
Yeah, it's not. I think they could be in trouble this season if they don't sort it out. Watford 3, Stoke City 0. Sheffield United 2, QPR 2. Swear that was 2-0 for quite a lot of that game.
It was.
Oh no. Oh no.
Norwich 2, Blackburn Rovers 2. Blackburn been putting in some good performances so far.
Remember, this is the Blackburn Rovers without Sammy Moddic now.
Yep, it is. Yep. Burnley 5, Cardiff City 0. Oh, look at those parachute payments.
And they made 20 million for the manager, which means they didn't actually need to sell any of their Prem players. So it's basically their Premier League team that's just carrying on into another season. So that's fun.
Sunderland 4, Sheffield Wednesday 0 is the last result there. Fun fact, none of the away sides won in the championship this weekend. All the away teams that played, none of them won. So it was probably written for us today. We could have booked that trend, but we don't tend to do that unless it's a negative trend. Yep. So, yes, let's move into the news then. So Sheffield Wednesday released a limited edition kit this week. It is a blackout kit. I do believe it's our first ever true blackout kit where everything is truly blacked out. It's a very nice kit. Let's forget about the fact we've just been battered in it 4-0.
Yep.
Let's go into the controversy. So the Sheffield Wednesday tweeted, incredible response to our third kit launch today with adult sizes all now sold out. Only junior and infant sizes remain. Thank you all for your amazing support. #SWFC. There's been a lot of backlash to this with people going, oh, it's got to have a restock. The website wasn't working, things like that. They did say it's a limited edition and once they're gone, they're gone. Jake, what's your feeling on this?
I have the situation where it feels like Sheffield Wednesday were not ready for the demand at all. When I picked up my shirt on Thursday morning, I asked them, oh, were you expecting it to be this busy? They went, oh, no, we weren't expecting it to be this busy at all. This is like back in like 2015 days when the shirt came out and it would be around the corner. We weren't expecting it. So I'm like, okay, that means the club shop wasn't ready. They had 3 people on tills. We got there at 8:45 and we were out at 10. And then I know people who was queued up for like 2 hours to get a shirt. and managed it. Now, on the website side of things, my God, if we get Prem, they need this fixing massively, because that website infrastructure just died. The amount of traffic it got, it died. But the thing is, people were also then, when it wasn't working, they were just adding more shirt to the car.
Yeah,
like,
they did.
Just put one and wait.
I'm gonna say, right, this is why
you did the online shop. So you talk about how the online bit.
I did. It was. I got the server didn't connect in time. I got that about 5 times. Right. I know from being a massive dork that this is what happens on every retail shop when a limited edition thing comes out. It happens with, I don't do trainers, but it happens with trainers, happens with collectibles. I know this. So I was fully prepared to experience this. And I understand when sites have got this bad infrastructure, you put your stuff in and you let it load.
Yeah.
And you just let it load. And then when you do get the DNS, that's when you refresh. But you don't keep refreshing. Otherwise, you go back to the server end of the server queue. You just refresh once, let it load, right? So I then got to the payment screen and it looked like it crashed. It says, please wait it. That screenshot a lot of people are sending, but I then saw it come out of my bank. I was like, I am not refreshing this page like so many people then did.
It's out my bank. It's done.
It's out of my bank. And then because I didn't refresh the page, 10 minutes it was on that page. And I got the email and the confirmation came through on that and it loaded the page in.
There were so many people who have got notification from the bank going, this will come out your account. This will come out your account.
You had to leave it on that page. Yeah.
It's like I worry because limited edition means limited edition. Like you said, you're a nerd that collects limited stuff. I'm a nerd that collects limited stuff. I know how this works. I collect limited edition shirts. I've done this before. I know. The thing is, do people then send them back and then go, hey, we got to load back from people?
That's what I think is going to happen.
That's the thing that I think that's going to happen. Or is there going to be a situation where they go, well, that first order gone through, rest done. We then move on. You hope that kind of thing. But I think you might have a situation where people will have lots of shirts arrive and they say, well, that's my order, have these back. That's what I think might happen.
Or they'll eBay them. But I think the problem with that, right, I just think the club have managed it wrong. Can I ask you, Jack, do you think they should release another wave of the shirts?
No, because it's limited edition. What's been produced has been produced. I think we leave it at that. If you do another round of it, it loses all the uniqueness, the sort of like glimmer and shine of it all. And the rumor is there was 5,000 we got, and that was it.
I mean, it's an unpopular opinion, but I agree, Jack, because it's always going to happen. There's going to be scumbags that do it on eBay. And I've seen Around the Grounds has popped into the chat, and I know he said, I completely agree against it. People scalping it. It happens with every limited edition thing that exists. But if you start...
Fun fact as well, there actually was a nationally known scalper that was in the queue ahead of Jake, and they got escorted out by the police because they didn't have...
They got escorted out by police. They got escorted out by...
security. Yeah, or something like that. And they didn't have enough time to get somebody they always send after a shirt or something, so they went themselves and got spotted and were like, no, get out. And there's still other scalpers that have slipped through the net that have got them. Like,
the thing is, you look on eBay now, and if you go on eBay, they're like 250, 300, and this happens every time.
Yeah.
Every time there's a limited drop of anything, trainers, shirts, Pop Funkos, the lot, they will go in, buy in bulk, and then sell on. You can't stop it. You can't police it. You generally can't. It's virtually impossible to police it. The only way you could have done it is you said you're limited to 4, but then if you've got a family with 6, so you're buying 2 for you and your wife, and the rest are for your kids or grandkids, then what do? Do you then have your other partner behind you buy the other 2? It doesn't work. You can't police it. It was always going to have an issue.
People are saying it's a foregone conclusion they're going to make more. I will be disappointed because like I understand people missing out is never fun. The scalping side of it isn't fun. But I don't trust the club again if they release another wave, right? And I'm not saying that just because I got the shirt. I was fully prepared. If the site crapped the bed on me, I'm not going to get that shirt. That's going to be a disaster. That's going to be not a disaster, but really upsetting. I'm going to be really disappointed. But I'm going to moan about the site infrastructure, and I'm going to go, right, it wasn't my time.
Right,
that
I didn't
happens.
get. Do you remember the limited edition white and blue trim shirt we did? It was a limited edition
Yeah, it was
white
like a third
first
kit
shirt.
a few years ago.
I
wasn't it?
never
Yeah.
got that one. I couldn't actually get that one because at the time I was nowhere A, financially able to, and B, I wasn't in and around Sheffield to go pick it up. I missed out on that and I went, fine, I've missed out on it, fine. I'm still looking for that shirt on eBay now in my size and I can't find it.
And I don't want him to bow to the fact that people are going to buy knockoffs, because people are buying knockoffs anyway. People are going to buy knockoffs. The thing about a limited edition shirt, right? The knockoff isn't going to be limited. These don't actually, these shirts, these clubs don't come out. There's a rumor that they come out of the same factory. They don't in the EFL. It's only like the certain sort of certain clubs actually do.
Do you know where they've missed the trick? There's nothing on the shirts that are numbered to say what numbers they are.
That's what this. Yeah. Do you know what?
They've missed the trick.
Yeah.
They should have numbered them all.
Yeah, they should have done. This is a few things. If you release a limited edition product, right, you have a purchase limit of. It's usually 2, but I'd say because you can buy for a family, that variant of shirt, and this is not sizing, this is across all sizes. I think they should have done max purchase limit of 4. So you could buy an infant size, an adult size, that sort of thing. You can't buy, but it's just that whole branding of the shirt. That way, you can't get out a family of 8. Sod it, it's a limited edition shirt. You're going to have to fight over it, right? But they should have put a purchase limit on the website, so then people didn't end up with 27 in their bloody basket and end up paying whatever they did.
Like someone that Jake knows, by the way, who had like 29 in his basket.
No, he had 91.
91. Well, there we go. That's why loads of people.
That's where all the shirts are.
That's where all the bloody shirts were.
Because that's the site infrastructure wasn't made for it. You put a limit on it. You put a queue on the website like they do for tickets, right? So when I was there early, I can get in the queue half an hour before they go on sale, right? That's what should happen.
You should have done what they do for tickets.
You should also have an identifiable marker, like a QR code or something, just like etched on the inside in print, that you can then scan against. I think they should do this with all football shirts. You can scan, and it will tell you if the shirt's legit or not. But it will also tell you how many times that's been scanned.
Oh,
so, because if you've scanned it, like if it says once, you think the club's done it or something, or people in the shop. But if it says it's been scanned like 20, 30 times, that's been printed onto a knockoff, and you might have a knockoff. So you've either got the one original or you've got the knockoff that's been printed off that shirt.
Can you imagine walking to the club shop with your scanner going, no, these are all knockoff, chance theory.
Well, but no, that's the thing, because that's how, for me as a collector, if I buy a limited edition kit and all of a sudden I bought a knockoff, I want to know.
Yeah.
So, but now, and I know I'm not going to have a knockoff because I've got it from the shop. But
I know what you mean.
It's a case of there's people like on the second-hand market, you don't even know if you're buying a knockoff.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll print more. I know fans are asking for it. I don't think they should print more, and that's not saying just because I've got it. If I'd have missed out, I missed out. I've missed out on shirts. I liked the pink one. I haven't got it, and that wasn't even limited edition.
I even tried to find. I'm finding you the pink shirt to go. It's here and at a good price. I still haven't found it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you literally sent me a message once going, you know how you look on eBay for like people spelling mistakes? Can you have a look for this?
Yeah, can you please try and find me that pink shirt in a size that I could actually wear? But yeah, doesn't happen. So I hope it doesn't get rid. I hope the club sort it out for next time. And I don't think there'll be too many people moaning about it. Now we've just been beat 4-0 in it. So.
Having said that as well, I don't know if numbers of like actual like numbers of the shirt.
Jack, I've got a Dortmund shirt which is 56 out of 5,000.
No, as in like, the 5,000 were given to us adult shirts. I don't think that's dictated by the club. I think that's dictated by Macron.
It depends. It depends on
the deal that they do.
It depends on what deal they do and when they do. Like we could have said we want X amount and they said we can only produce this amount.
Yeah.
Or it could have been this is all we're producing. Once you sold them, you sold them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Either way, don't do a.
You didn't get the shirt, did you, Jack?
No, I didn't. I can't afford it at the moment. I've got other things to worry about with saving up for and stuff at the moment.
That's fair.
So
I very nearly didn't because I'm in a very similar situation, but I've been really, really good with money for the past few months and I've been scrimping. So I was like, no, I've not bought a Wednesday shirt since the Big P shirt. So I'm getting a shirt and I'm getting that one.
I missed out on the last load of limited edition shirts, so I wasn't going to miss this one. And I have been banging my drum for so many years saying I want a blackout Wednesday shirt. Yeah. And they finally did one and I wasn't missing. I literally showed our last, and you two know our last. And then she went, "Oh, for God's sake, you're getting a shirt, aren't you?"
I turned to the phone to Soph and said the same thing. I went, "For God's sake." It's like, it's going to happen.
It's fine for you. I've already got the 2 new shirts.
Oh, yeah, of course you have. Yeah.
Which, of course, that's all down to the YouTube subscribers for the monetization status and all that jazz.
I have actually made my money.
That's a very, very nice way of saying it's a tax write-off, Jack.
I have made my money back on the shirts already. So yeah.
Anyway,
okay, all right, Mr. Ooh, I've got 4K on YouTube. Ooh, and also you, Dex, as well. I've got 5K. So long.
Well, if you made a video and put it out there, you might be able to get 4K.
Yes, I know. Ooh. Oh. Anyway, bloody hell.
You walked yourself into that one.
Moving on to more news. Malik Wilks joins Rotherham on loan. Malik Wilks has joined Rotherham on a season-long loan. The forward signed from Wednesday in August 2022 from Hull. He has since made 42 appearances in blue and white, scoring 3 goals. Wilks now makes the short hop to New York Stadium on a temporary basis. Good luck, Malik. Jake, what do you think about this one?
I have a rumour about this. Not a rumour, a theory, sorry.
Go on.
I have a funny feeling that Sheffield Wednesday will, when he returns back to us after his loan spell, have we got an option for another year? And we go, trigger that option and go, oh, he did really well at Rotherham. There you go.
Yeah, I think that could happen. Yeah.
You look at how many players we triggered. I think he'll do well there, but it's about him playing games week in, week out. Let's see what he can do. Steve Evans has already come out and said he needs to be loved. He's a player that needs to be loved. And
can he love Dawson? That really annoys me.
Yeah, that's wound me up.
That really wound me up.
Because, I'm sorry, he was great for us in League One. Yep. He deserved the number 1 at Rotherham, and he's just sat on the bench. He better sort that out soon. Because I feel for him because he's a Wednesday fan. Yeah, but what do you think about what's going to Rotherham, Jack?
I mean, I didn't realise that Henry Hoover was sponsoring Rotherham United this year because they're just do they want to just hoover up any more cast-offs? Cameron Dawson, Reece James, now Malik Wilks. They were rumoured to be after Michael Smith. They were rumoured to be wanting Bailey on loan as well. Bloody hell. But yeah.
Steve Evans secretly loves us even though he pretends he doesn't. I don't think anybody... you've got to clock on to that.
I had a discussion with someone recently that I think that my least liked manager of Chris Wilder has now been eclipsed by Steve Evans with his comments recently about Wednesday.
I know, but I think he secretly wishes he could manage Wednesday, but knows he never will.
Yeah,
I felt that when he was, years ago. He always had that vibe.
When he had the lead job.
Yeah.
Yes. Then he's like, I wish this was Wednesday, but whatever. But yeah, sorry, Malik Wilks to Rotherham. I think it's a good fit because, I mean, Steve Evans doesn't really have a reputation for showing players a lot of love. He's just got this reputation of you do the job. You're here to do that job. I'm not here to manage you. That's your job. And so I'm a bit sort of is this a good fit? But if it's logistically all right for him because it's down the road from where he lives now, he doesn't have to move all that stuff. It's in a lower league where he's got the potential to enjoy it a bit more, and it's all a mental thing with Wilks. He needs to get his confidence in himself back, I think, and being at somewhere like Rotherham does that because they were terrible the other week and without him, and I think they.
All he needs to do now is play for Sheffield United, and he'd done all he'd done the South Yorkshire teams.
Yeah.
Right, boys, I'm going to be really unprofessional, but because I don't want to feel like I need to rush this podcast because I need a wee, basically, I'm going to back myself out of this, and I want you two to discuss the fact that Patterson could be on the way out, and could he be a move for Rotherham? Is what I want to present to you, lads, as I depart.
There's another one that was linked with Rotherham. Yes, Steve Evans, the Hoover. I've heard that the Marriott in Sheffield want to give him a job as their head of housekeeping because he's that good at hoovering up all of our cast-off players.
You know what? I think Patterson's an interesting one because for me, Patterson is one of the players that performs week in, week out. I don't know where he fits in a Danny Rule system right now. Versus Hull, he actually did play the Windass role versus Hull, and he didn't look bad, but he looks a bit out of it. I can't see him going to Rotherham. No. If I'm honest, I can go and see him going back to Scotland. With them having a kid soon, I wonder if it's a case of having the support network. No support network. Go back to Hearts were only in for him last season when we came up. And I think he's always had an affiliation with Hearts. And he's always said, I want to go back if I can. If I can go back, I will. And I think you put him in a Hearts team in Scotland, he'll just destroy it again. He'd just have so much fun. But if he went to Rotherham, they would have to buy him because he's on a year contract. I can't see Danny loaning him. Can you?
No, not really. I think it's sort of time as well with the rumoured amount that we've spent for Ike Ugbo. I think we need to kind of think sustainably. We can't basically do what we did a few years ago where we spend, and then don't make any money back from people. And we've always made that mistake. Like it feels. Yes, it doesn't have to be massive amounts, but we need something back. I feel.
I forgot Naismith is in charge at Hearts. Okay, never mind.
Maybe Hibbs. I think was it? Yeah. It was someone. I think it was.
It was Hearts.
It was someone.
No, it was Hearts.
It was Hearts.
It was Hearts. Okay. It was Hearts. We played there before. It's where we started. The thing is, with it, when you look at it, there's Patterson, there's Smith, there's Johnson. They're all on 1-year deals left.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, we have been saying that Wednesday, as a club, need to start getting players on 1-year deals out once they hit the 1-year deal so we make some money off of them.
Yeah.
Smith, right now, has literally played himself into probably staying a bit longer because we don't have anyone of that build or that way of playing. We don't have a target.
Surprised me, actually. I've been very pleasantly surprised. He's adapted so well. And I thought that he'd struggle with the pace of it. But no, he's actually, I think, against Hull. And then even when he came on today as well, he's shown, I think, that he's showing actually he might be worth keeping around.
I think Johnson did okay as well. I think Johnson did very well versus Hull. It's difficult because they're 3 players with big sentiment.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we can't do that anymore. We can't be that club that goes, oh, we're going to keep them because they were part of our playoff run and they got us to Wembley and they're part of the Wembley
squad. They kept us up last year.
Yeah, you got to start thinking about it, especially with someone like Smith. We got him for free. You got all 3 of them we got for free. Patterson, Smith, Johnson. If you get players for free and they're on their 1-year contract, you need to go, hey, let's see if there's a deal for you because if you've got them on free, that's pure profit.
Yeah.
I think for sustainability and cash flow, if we're looking for somebody else to come in over Smith, it probably does make sense. I think he trusts him. I do, but I think Smith doesn't want to be a squad player either. Yeah. And because he's coming towards the end of where he's going to be a peak striker, Smith will score 20 goals in League One.
Yeah.
Or 15, whatever.
Yeah.
Because he can still play for us, but he doesn't want to be a squad player. And I don't think, and I think he should be. And I think it's a case of if we can cash him, we probably should sell him. Let him go and be the Wrexham poster boy.
I mean, I genuinely thought as well that the players that we offered that we triggered the 1-year extension for, I thought we were literally doing that just for profit, just to sell them, to actually make some money off them, and not just have yet more players leave on a free and we make nothing from them. So I just think that that would work for me.
Yeah. No, and with Pato, I think it'd be time to move him on as well, personally. I think it makes sense, As much as I saw somebody in the chat saying that they put him in against Leeds, he could still do it, feature there. But we've got to get better at turnover and fully trust Danny. Yeah, exactly. I don't. There was times I can't let myself forget because I'm not a hypocrite. I said that a lot of these players aren't good enough last season. That doesn't change just because an amazing manager comes in. You know, he has got the best out of some players, but if we want to go to the next level, you have to start higher than those players. And I think that's where we're at. We really do. Okay, let's go into some more transfer speculation because we love that kind of thing. Well, we're going to miss it when the window ends. This is from Alan Nixon. I think is it a report in the Sun? He's done this or wherever.
It's on his Patreon.
Oh, it's on his Patreon, right? Okay,
all over the place.
But he's posted it.
I've been asked about Patreon, but I can't say it on the podcasts. But
Jack's OnlyFans coming soon. So this is from Alan Nixon, who writes that Hull City and Sheffield Wednesday are facing a battle in the chase for Bayer Leverkusen's Colombian midfielder Gustavo Puerta.
Puerta.
Oh,
straight out of Narcos. Anyway, that's probably really bad. Anyway,
we've been chasing him for weeks as of Hull, but the Danish side, Brøndby, have now come up with a 3 million bid, which looks set to blow us out of the water. Wednesday could make a loan move for youngster Alpha Divine on loan instead, but they have championship rivals for him.
Right,
so we're going to.
The thing I always say with Alan Nixon: take him with a grain of salt. Some things he gets right, some things he get terribly wrong.
Well, we'll talk about Alpha Divine in a different section. Let's talk about the possibility, if for whatever reason we are still in the running for him, Gustavo Puerta. Do you think it's going to happen, Jake? Do you think it should happen? Do you think it'd be a good fit?
I love him to come. He's 21, playing at Leverkusen. It's one of those players that you can bring in and improve, and you're looking for the future. But it's weird because I feel like we probably spent most of our. We don't have a budget as such.
3 million is his valuation, by the way, so we wouldn't be getting a bargain for him like we have been other players as well.
Yeah, it's one of the ones where are we going to get that 3 million? Because it felt like when we were doing the Ubbo deal, that was a sticking point with how we were doing the structure. So how would you do the structure for that? I love him, but I can't see it, sadly.
Jack?
And you know why I love him? He's a CDM.
Exactly, and we're looking in that market. We've been talking about that a lot. But Jack, what would you feel about this one? Do you think and what do you think the reality of it will be?
I'm sort of inclined to agree with Jake. Really, it's because yes, we don't have a budget, and it's that very chancery thing of we will just pay whatever we need to pay for them, and we don't really have a budget. We will just pay what we need to, and being all elusive like that, which is good because it means that other teams won't just go, oh, that's your budget. Okay, great. We'll ramp up the price by like 2 million to just milk you a little bit more. But I'm sort of slightly I can't really see it happening. If this Brøndby can just stump up the cash immediately and just go, there you go. And with how we've seen all of these payment plans with everybody in England, every single team in England basically doing that exact sort of thing, I don't know if we can compete with that, sadly.
It's a massive risk. Like, for that sort of money, 21-year-old player doesn't have that much experience, has only made 42 appearances total in his career.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot of a risk.
It's a very risky Chelsea-style signing. We're signing him because he's a wonder kid.
Yeah, and it could pay off, but like I don't think we need to go that way. I think we need someone proven. We will do the EAFC thing that we always do for a potential incoming. He's a 63 rated bronze, so that's why we shouldn't go for him if you are 12. 65 pace, 56 shooting, 59 passing, 60 dribbling, 58 defending, and 60 physical.
And for career mode players, I actually did. You know what? I did look at this.
Oh my word!
For career mode players, he has a 79 potential. So that's what about where you're paying 3 million for the potential, maybe, but
only 79 potential. Oh, he's not in the 80s. We can't have him possible.
Like but anyway.
It would be amazing to bring in it'd be a bargain 3 million if you bring in a central midfield, defensive mid, sort of like a defensive style mid, that centre mid for 3 million. He's 21, and then you get the best years out of him. Sheffield Wednesday don't do that sort of thing, so I don't think this was going to happen, but it could. Let us know what you think in the comments. Moving on to signing that Danny might be quite keen for, and this actually I could see happening, even though there's going to be tough competition for it. This is from the Star. Sheffield Wednesday consider move for Tottenham Hotspur midfielder before window closes. Sheffield Wednesday are certainly not finished in the transfer market, and a new potential target has surfaced. Tottenham Hotspur's Alfie Devine. I'm going to just cut over all of that bit. Devine is a long-serving England youth international, having represented his country at various levels, winning the 2022 Under-19 European Championships, and last year was drafted into Gareth Southgate's squad at one point after an injury to Bukayo Saka. The 20-year-old attacking midfielder, who also played out wide on occasion for the Pilgrims last season, featured against Bayern Munich this month as Ange Postecoglou prepares his side for the upcoming Premier League campaign. So, if Alpha Devine comes in, is it a case of you going to play Ingleson in the midfield next to Bannon and put Devine as the 10? Or are you going to play him as one of those out wide options because maybe he is somebody who comes out wide for us? Jack, I'll start with you. Do you see it happening, and where do you think we would play him?
I definitely think this is a very likelihood to kind of happen because he was rubbing shoulders with Big Ange all summer. Well, I say all summer. While he was being the pundit for ITV.
Danny Rule was.
Danny Rule. Sorry, yeah. I should have led with that. Sorry, yes. Danny Rule.
I don't know if he was. Didn't they overlap?
They overlapped.
I think they might have been there on the same day, but then they changed.
Danny went when Ange started because Danny was about to do the preseason.
Yeah.
Ange was behind.
Oh. Yeah.
Basically, they swapped. I think they were there for one day, so they might have had a chat.
Okay. Well,
but I think they swapped. Yeah,
it was a case. It was a case of that thing with. Do you remember the famous Roth Wallet note thing? He just passed him a note going, "Players ? Lit."
Yeah.
Carry on though, mate.
But sorry, mate. I also do think that we've got a very good chance of getting this on loan because of how we played in the Plymouth game. I mean, they're a bit. They may have gone, ooh, that's not so great after this performance today. But I think with seeing how well that McNeil's doing up front and how much he's nurtured Sean Fuzier coming into the side and how much Bailey's been nurtured by Danny, I sort of feel like Danny is the sort of ideal manager in a lot of Premier League managers' heads to say, right, okay, we can send you our young, talented prospects and you'll really nurture them very well.
We play positive football as well, so that could be a big thing.
And I think that's a big advantage that we've got over a lot of other championship clubs that are just sort of going, yeah, we'll take you, but you'll just be thrown in. You won't really be nurtured. You'll just be one of the team. I don't think there's many other clubs at the moment that show that much of a attention to detail in terms of, sort of replicating that style a lot of Premier League clubs want to play. And rightfully so. That's what Danny's getting a lot of plaudits for as well with his style and everything. And I just can see this being a very likely thing to happen. And I also think that he'll be central midfield. I don't think he'll be out wide. We've got too many options out wide now. It's more of to plug in that central.
But do we? Because we were talking earlier. We were like, if you do drop Windass, like we've got Gassama and Masaba.
This is the Windass option, I would say. The sort of. A Windass alternative, if you will, because I think at the moment,
but then where do you put? I feel that Ingleson is the 10. He is the 10. He should be the 10 in my opinion, but I don't know. But it's either Ingleson's the 10 or Ingleson is Barry Bannon after Barry Bannon's gone.
Yeah, I can see that being the case as well. Yeah,
because they're quite similar in their creativity, And I think Ingleson is a look to the future there. But yeah, Devine, do you think it makes sense? Do you think it will happen, Jake?
I've just seen who the other club is. It's Millwall.
It's coming here then, isn't it? It's going to go to Millwall now.
As if he doesn't. But he might not want to move out of London.
It all depends on where he wants to move because it being in London, he's just done 2 loans at Port Vale and Plymouth. Does he go, I'll stay a bit home this time? It all depends on what Danny can sell him to the club and Tottenham to. And also, how many times have we said a loan needs to be right for those style of play we're playing for our teams? If you look at Millwall and us, who look more like a Tottenham team? We do.
Yeah.
So you're looking at how you're playing. That's where you go. If it gets done, it'll be interesting to see. Plymouth fans weren't great. Said he wasn't great, But I don't know if that could. They had so many changes when he came in January, different managers and stuff like that. So it all was a bit hard to tell.
just weren't consistent anyway.
This year, and that we didn't look good under Danny. So what do they know anyway?
I think if they get him, the thing is, they class him as an attacking midfielder, but he can also play the CDM. It'll be interesting to see what happens because he's done okay by the sounds of it in their pre-season. I think it's all where they see his development going, and they go from there. That's what I say. You go from there and see where Tottenham are.
I think Danny brings out the best in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a player that is 20 years old, right?
Didn't you talk about him like 2 seasons ago? I'm sure you did.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I think he was on your League One promotion transfer list.
I think, when we did that episode where I said a few players, Divine was one of the players, I do believe, if I remember rightly, and obviously we're a level up now, but it's a case of, I think under Danny Rule, there's still a player in there, and he's got... It makes sense. I think it makes sense for the player. And I actually think the fact that he's moved around for loans a couple of times, he probably hasn't settled at home. So this is a good time to drag him up north. And before he gets into he decides he wants a permanent home and moves.
He'd walk into a pub and go, how much? It's that much.
Yeah.
I've got 10 quid to give you for my pint. I'll have my change back then.
But he's a player that in the youth Premier League he's scored 13 goals and 7 assists, which is not bad for somebody who obviously can play in the midfield. He's obviously played out wide as well. Actually. He made 20 appearances in League One, scoring 2 goals and getting 1 assist. He's made 15 championship appearances across his career, and I think that it's the right time for him to come to Sheffield, to come to a club like Sheffield Wednesday. And yes, he could play as that 10. He very much could, because I think that gives us great competition for spaces. So if you do see Gassama or Masaba that's struggling a bit in a game, you put Divine out one side, you put Lowe out one side, you put Ingleson outside, because Ingleson can go wide as well, but then you've got Ingleson to go in that 10. But for me, the first name on that team sheet should be Ingleson, and you build the rest of the team around it for me now. So that's why it's a case of Divine might not always play as well, but he is an option there. We need more of a defensive midfielder for definite, but I think
there's a link to one in the article later down. Yeah,
which we will talk about in a second. But Alpha Divine on EAFC is a 64 rated rare bronze. 64 pace, 59 shooting, 63 passing, 63 dribbling, 52 defending, 55 physical. So all of you that like a FIFA player that can be decent with potential, he is one. But moving on,
you went very not train conductors, but those onboard service providers of trains that just pick up hello, I am your train service provider for the evening. The next stop will be this. But you went very, very train tannoy.
You mean train conductor?
Well, they're not called that anymore. They're called train comfort providers or something now. Are they not?
What? They're called what? What are they doing exactly to provide the comfort, Jack?
Park, right?
What trains have you been on?
The park. When I came up to
Were you part of the train?
He literally on the tannoy said, "I am your train comfort director today. We're stopping at these places. There's there's a cart that comes up and down the carriage." And I was like, I was just saying, you went very much into that.
Do you have an opinion on Alpha Divine? Let us know in the comments. Jesus Christ, boys. This is from Football Insider. Stoke, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday race to sign Daniel Brodt. Sources have told Football Insider, central midfielder Brodt, 19, who can play up front, finished as top scorer in the recent UEFA Under-19 European Championship in Northern Ireland, scoring 3 goals in the tournament. His form and potential has alerted Championship trio Stoke, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday, as well as interest from Serie A and the Bundesliga. The youngster is currently playing. I always say playing when somebody puts playing. My brain doesn't read it as playing. The youngster is currently playing his trade in Norway's second tier with Sandnes Ulf, and he has scored 4 goals and provided 2 assists in 17 games across all competitions this season. Stoke, Sheffield Wednesday, and Sheffield United are all interested. Let's ignore the rest because the rest is just fluff in the article. But Brought, do you know much about him, Jake? Do you think he'd be a good signing?
He's a very good young midfielder at the moment, and he's improving. And I think if we got him, he's definitely one for the future. It's one where you remember when we signed Kasama and Masaba, it's that level of signing. You're not buying him for now. You're buying him for the season next season where he bulked up, got a bit better. Maybe you put him in. I'd like him a lot. He looks really good. Now, I think where you're going down these routes of looking at the Norwegian things, you can, even though Henrik is Danish, Henrik can manage in Norway. And I think there's a link.
So where are you going with this?
There's a link there where you can have someone who knows the language. So you've got someone to kind of look after him a little bit in that sense. And it wouldn't surprise me if this is someone who's been put in front of Henrik's face going, hey, there's this lad. What do you think?
Fair enough, Jack.
I can't say I know much about him, but I certainly hope he's got a broad range of abilities on the ball and off the ball, and can provide a broad range of work rate for us, because that's sadly been very much missed in the midfield at the moment. I feel at certain times, like today. I'm sorry. Look, I had to throw it in there. I'm just stalling for time, really, because I don't know much about him, so I'm deferring to
Jack. Do you know what? I'll make you feel better. I know very little about him other than the stats that are up in front of my face, because he's 19 years old and he's never really played in anywhere we'd watch. And there's very little on him other than the stats that I can see, that he's made 13 appearances and scored 3 goals and has got 1 assist as a central midfielder. He's absolutely... Whoever's scouting him is taking all the risks. He's got an estimated market value of 200k. Apparently, he can play central midfield, right winger, and centre forward. So again, another attacking position.
But isn't he the kind of risk we should be taking? And
absolutely. If the scouting team are doing their work, this is the kind of players that you're looking for. But I can't pretend, and I'm not going to be one of those people that pretend I know anything about this player. So if you do, let us know in the comments. And would it be a good signing for Sheffield Wednesday? We're already looking at a very wide selection, by the look of it, of attacking midfielders. Yeah, genuinely, I'm not going to pretend I know anything about him. I know nothing. Yeah. He might be good.
Is that raw?
Sometimes maybe good. Sometimes maybe
is that raw that Gordon Ramsay is absolutely furious at his current statistics. If anybody's editing this after the fact and enjoys editing funny little meme compilation, have you muted me? You've muted me, haven't you? Have you muted me in the show? Have you muted me in the show? What have you done? What's got? What?
That was fun.
Did you mute me in the show? I can't believe it.
We just didn't talk.
You just didn't talk.
I don't think we both got a nod at the same time than what we were going to do.
What?
Sorry, audio listeners.
You knew that I'd just be going, what? Have you muted me? Oh,
it used to happen to you quite a lot, and I forgot we used to do it. And it's even more fun to do it live.
Make me just internally just crumble, like going, oh my god, what? Why?
This is from the Star. Big midfielder being considered by Sheffield Wednesday as Owl's way up options. Sheffield Wednesday's summer recruitment drive isn't over yet, and there's a new name on the list of possible options. Right, basically, there's fluff here. I'm going to read this bit. The Star has been informed that one player who has been mentioned as a potential pursuit is Big Fortuna Sitar. I don't want to say that because it sounds like a slur, but it's not.
Fortuna. Oh, yes. The very, very nice sounding Turkish guitar, I see.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes.
Fortuna Sittard, man. Laurence Rossier. However, his name is thought to be one of the several that have been discussed in the halls of Middlewood Road, while new arrivals are plotted. The 25-year-old, who played the full 90 minutes of Fortuna's opening day, win over Go Ahead Eagles at the weekend, missed just 4 Eredivisie games last season as they finished 10th. However, the 6'3" Frenchman's only goal came early in the campaign during a victory versus Almere City. It remains to be seen whether things will go any further, given that Wednesday are currently assessing the market and have shown an interest in Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder Malik Yukuli, who we're not going to talk about because he's off to Sao Paulo now after this article. So, Jack, I'll start with you this one. The big midfielder, Laurence Rossier, what are you thinking?
I mean, it sounds like a name of an NPC from The Witcher 3, doesn't it? But yeah,
actually, yeah, I'll give
Yeah,
you
it
that.
does actually, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's literally what we were discussing earlier that we need in midfield. It's really funny that we keep going for all these tall players. Like poor Baz is gonna feel like he's walking amongst skyscrapers, isn't he? He's like looking up all the time at everyone.
The funniest thing Soap's ever said is like, when are they building Barry's statue? They're not going to need much materials for it, are they?
Yeah, Lego.
Like,
out of
Bless
Lego.
him.
Oh my god, bless him.
It'll be a Lego figurine.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the
we
sort
love
of
you, Barry,
towering
by the way.
presence-
Sorry, Barry.
Yes, we love you, Barry. It's the sort of towering presence that like we need, I think, with Chalobah being out and stuff. And I'm just, again, it's another player I don't know much about, so I'm just kind of.
I'll be honest with you, lads. I ain't got a monkeys on this one. I really don't know much about him at all. The only thing I remember when I heard Go Ahead Eagles, I'm pretty sure that's where Salah went.
Colt hero.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that's where he went.
God.
My thing is we have been trying to replace Jose Semedo in the CDM role for far too long.
Pelopessi, our saviour. What are you on
Okay,
about?
Pelopessi was okay when he came to it, but you know what I mean? We're still looking for that style of play and we haven't found it. And my biggest worry is, especially when Barry Bannon retires, is when we try and find that style of play and how long it takes us. It takes us too long to replace these players who are quite crucial.
In the words of Pep, we cannot replace him. We cannot replace him.
So transfer market, as Jack is only mildly offensive. The transfer market don't have much on him, but a good old Wikipedia's got some more appearances here. So we've got more appearances than I thought he made. So for Paris FC's second team in 2016 to 17, he made 19 appearances, scoring 4 goals as a defensive midfielder. The second team for Sochaux, between 2017 and 18, 24 appearances, 3 goals. He then played for the B team of Vitoria Guimoretes, and between 2018 and 2020.
Isn't that who we got? I'm pretty sure that's who we got Matthias and Zhao from.
Oh, is it? Well, he made 45 appearances for their B team, scoring 5 goals, and this is from a defensive midfield again. And then Astori, 2020 to 2023, 71 appearances, 5 goals. So he's got actually a lot of football under his belt when I didn't look like he did, which you would hope for a 26-year-old that he did. 2023 onwards, he's been for Fortuna Sittard for 31 appearances, 1 goal. You what, mate?
My mistake with Nacional. I'm sure we signed a player from there. I could be wrong.
Possibly. But yeah, there's not even any FIFA stats. So he doesn't even have a FIFA card apparently, but he does have a FIFA overall rating in career mode of 70 overall. So just so we can't even do the old meme bit for the FIFA bit. But if Danny thinks he's going to be a good central midfielder and we do have injury issues over Chalobah, we do need somebody who is primarily a defensive midfielder. Again, he's that age where it's looking like, right, building a squad that are ready for it. So a 26-year-old is ready for now. So yeah. I think that's going to be the case. I think Chalobah will be our number 1 in that midfield in terms of you bring him in as the holding midfielder, but it's got to be looking at options there, because today we were crying out for it. You know, against Sunderland, we were crying out for a player that can sit in that midfield, do the basics well, and sort it out. So for me, if we can do a good deal, good bit of money, stop being children in the private chat.
I didn't want to say the words.
I know
hate you with a passion for the silent thing. I didn't want to just interrupt.
Right.
You made me.
Anyway,
you made me do.
Let us know what you think in terms of this central midfielder coming in for Wednesday in the comments below. You two are children. I'm trying to do a podcast here.
Sorry, father.
I don't know if you're apologising to God or not there.
Anyway,
yes.
This is the time where you guys get your community topics in the chat for the people watching live. I don't know how many are still here. We've got a few of you, though. So please start it with topic, as we did last week. Get it, and then we will read the topic and we will discuss it towards the end of the episode. So please get that in the chat now as we go into this next short story. Basically, Danny was speaking about Ugbo and that he's going to be filtered in. So how long do you think it's going to be, Jake, before we see him starting?
I think you'll probably see him back up to speed and ready to go at West Brom.
Okay, and that's the end of September.
No, end of September. Just because you got to think about how much load time he's got to do. Because if he has a good mini pre-season during the international break, you could get him in for Luton. But I think you say give him a little bit more time to get fully started and get him in for West Brom.
Yep. Jack, do you think the same, or do you think he'll be back earlier?
I think it will be minimum sort of to be starting regularly and all that jazz. I think it'll probably be minimum the end of the international break. Because it was. I mean, we all know what kind of happened. Troyes were holding on to him for dear life with a death grip, even though they made him train at the City Group.
No, they didn't make him train.
Well,
they didn't make him train. No, they didn't make him train at the City Group. He went and trained at the City Group.
Yes. Even so, if a player was wanting to leave that much and they wanted to start a bidding war, which I thought was very morally wrong, but he's going to take a little bit to get up to the sort of standard that Danny wants, I think.
You know what the annoying thing about that is, though? We're saying it's West Brom. That means he got West Brom, Bristol City, and then Coventry, and then we got another international break. Maybe
there's Grimsby in between that as well.
Oh God, yeah, the cup
I've
game.
I've been drafting up the schedule, and there's like 2 games.
Oh, 27
for that. So I was like, so I've been sorting that out, and Grimsby's one of the streaming games. So I'll talk to you about that later, Jake. So it's going to be interesting. But I think he could be. I could think he could be in sooner than that. I genuinely think if he performs well in training and Danny thinks it's fit, he could start him for Leeds.
Wow, that's
I know.
Big.
Because he doesn't need to play the full game. You attack Leeds from the off, play the first half. I don't think he'll do that, but it could be a possibility. So I'll just bring that up there. So we've had one topic in the chat because I think people are watching us on telly and they've just annoyed today. Oh, there's 2. Topic from Wabbit66. How are we doing on financial fair play? This would be a guesstimate, mate, because we currently don't know how much we're spending in the Championship. We have seen the trend by looking at the accounts over the last few years of our spending getting better, our profits balancing out, our losses becoming less. So over time, we've seen progress. This year's
profit should be great when you look at shirts that we sold.
Yeah.
To be fair, if you actually look
one bloke's bloody spent 27 grand on them.
One of the things you look at with FFP, you actually look at how much we've spent over the last couple of seasons. I think it'll be end of this season's account where it'll be interesting to see where we are, because that'll be the season where we sack Sisco, we bring Danny in. The season we stay up. This is also the season where we've also got new TV money, so that'll go into it as well for this season. So it'll be interesting. I don't think we're that close to it at all. I could be wrong, but I think we're just being a little bit smarter. It's like why I get really annoyed when people say, why don't we just pay all the money up front? You don't do that anymore. The idea of doing a payment structure could look better on the balance sheets year on year.
Yeah. No, do you have anything to add on FFP, Jack?
I can see it not being anywhere near sort of close, because I think we've been very, very ultra frugal since probably.
I think the managers are going to be a bit of a whack, as Jake said.
Yeah, that'll be probably the biggest whack. But other than that, I mean, we've been very, very frugal as like borderline Milan Mandaric sort of days of frugal since probably we got relegated. I think. So I can't imagine us being very close at all to it. Probably.
No, fair enough.
There are a few rumors, but don't want to really cover them because I don't know. It probably isn't true. But
Louis writes in and says, "Who would you get? What players would you sign to improve us?" I'll start with you, Jack.
Messi. No, I'm kidding. Basically, just It's hard to say now, really, because there's not a lot of kind of really big out there star power names anymore. I don't think at the moment, and I'm just sort of taking a back seat and going, whoever Danny signs, I'm good with. Like whatever you want to do, I'm fine with. So yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of glad. I feel kind of smug that I said we shouldn't sign Paveda because of what's happened to him as soon as he's joined.
He's not
Sunderland, which is quite
injured.
funny. I know, but he's just not very match fit yet.
Which neither of Ugbo. If we signed them both, they both would be in the same position.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. They still beat us 4-0 with Paveda in the stands. So, yeah.
Did you notice how quick he was to be totally like really cheering on Sunderland? I just thought.
Of course, he's going to.
I know.
Yeah.
An old
He has gone massively down in my estimates, though. I still get it. I get where you're coming from.
I understand where you're coming from, but it's a home. If he suddenly goes, "Oh yay, Ugbo coming," he's gonna get lynched.
There's a lot of them though that stay quite neutral when it's a club that they've got a lot of respect for in those circumstances, and I don't know.
I just think he's a bit of a mercenary.
Yeah.
Which is sad because he could have been so much more for us. But Jake, who do you think we need to bring in? Any players that stand out for you?
I just think we need none that I can think of off the top of my head. I just think we need to get that midfield sorted. We get that midfield sorted with someone who can hold the ball up, we'll be in a better position. I think the issue you got, some of the players we were looking at who I want have all gone. Like my list of players, they went early in the window, where I would have thought that would be ideal. And we were already doing deals. The thing is, whatever Danny brings in, I trust him to get the right player in. I trust the scouting team. And a lot of people are not going to like this. I trust Chansiri at the moment because he's actually backing his manager.
Yeah.
And that's something we have to actually, as much bad he's done, he's actually backing him.
I can talk about positions more than specific players.
Yeah,
we'll try for the deadline day or near to like a week before the deadline. So next podcast, basically, we'll try and basically come up with a list and talk to you about some players that we think might be good late addition sort of thing. We'll if we put a note in that for the next document, we'll do that for you. Yeah. But I would say specifically positions. I think today shows we need a centre back because if Ayor forgets to knock, does he play Famio? We need a centre back. We've needed it for a while. Central defensive midfield is a top priority. I do think we need another striker just for options. If Smith goes, because Lowe will drop into many positions across basically the front four if you call the Cam as part of the four. But like you have Ugbo, who's the poacher. You have Lowe, who's kind of the speedster, but can also finish. You have Smith as the big man, who basically gets in the right positions and has back to goal. You're sending Cadamartri on loan. You then have McNeil, who comes in as the young one, but it's a lot of pressure on him. Do you need another big man option that's potentially just...
I think the only way you get a big man option is if you have a deal lined up for Smith, but you know you've automatically got another player coming in. Yeah.
So I do think we will be in for a striker. But yeah, thanks for writing in there. Michael Brown says, how much does Sheffield Wednesday get from the new TV money? If I am right, I think it's just under 30 million across the league.
I believe that's right, yeah.
So that's split across the championship clubs. So it works out probably, I ain't got my calculator here and I'm not doing mental maths. How many teams are in the Prem?
It's roughly
the championship.
It's roughly 500 grand.
Yeah, I was thinking it's about 500k, isn't it?
Give or take. Yeah.
The TV money there. But however, I don't think it's an even split in the championship. It's based on how often you're picked, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
we're on like 10 times.
Yeah, so we probably get a bigger whack of that. I would say that we probably get a good million of that. I think Wednesday
We can
probably
buy the leg of a player.
Yeah, we probably get about $1 million in TV money because we are on it all the time.
That's possibly was given to us as a result of the big hoo-ha with last
100%.
year's announcement of Cisco. I think they were probably like, you can have more games next season.
They always give us those, though.
fair,
Historically,
Danny's
Wednesday have always been on Sky.
Yeah,
so they keep wanting to put us on Sky, but then they don't really want to praise us very much as a club. It's very
it's because they know their viewing figures go up when Wednesday are on. Because people either hate watch us, or we've got enough people who want a big enough fan base to tune in. Yeah. Us,
very
Leeds,
weird.
Derby.
Very weird.
Yeah, Derby.
Very bizarre. Yeah.
You get a lot of games with Middlesbrough now and again.
Our logo is actually our crest is actually even one of the like poster logos or whatever for the big intro. They make a big deal out of us, United and Leeds.
I will
On
say
that,
I
which
will
is,
say
for the EFL,
this.
which is quite interesting.
Danny made a very good impression for the club while he was doing Euros.
Oh, definitely.
And I think that helped a lot where it's like, actually, because that wouldn't surprise me if they tried to like get him in, like, you're not got a match this weekend. Do you want to do punditry on the sofa kind of thing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's look ahead then to the Friday match. I will give a plug for Jake here. I'll be very engrossed in the actual match itself, but Jake will be streaming the Leeds match on Friday as we head into a tough fixture. The stats, we've not got too many of them because it's the start of a season, but Leeds have basically they've not done too well at the start of the season.
They had a massive fire sale. Let's just call it what it is. They sold about 140
They didn't need to
million.
do that, remember? They didn't need to do that. They made a big deal out of saying that they didn't need to do that. We're fine. We can keep all of our main players. Oh, yeah.
They sold about 140 million, which is the most out of any club in Europe.
They have 2 points, 2 draws.
Yeah.
And they're playing us at home, where I actually think
we look better.
The priority, I think Danny could turn Hillsborough into a fortress, and that'll be a tell on Friday. How do you feel heading into the Leeds game? Obviously, off the back of a 4-0 drubbing from Sunderland. Jack.
Sorry. Yeah, I was like, but I actually am really confident because again, we made lots of errors that gifted Sunderland goals, but I don't think will be a common occurrence under Danny. And frankly, I think as well, looking at how Leeds have performed, I think we've got a bigger chance of doing well against them this season than we did last season. Because last season, they still had lots of their Premier League players, a bit like Burnley this season, have kept a load of their Premier League side. That's not happened for them this season. They've not been very good. And a lot of people have actually said that Daniel Farke isn't going to take them very far either. Which is quite interesting.
Yeah, and then they say they want Danny Rull.
Yeah, which is just arrogant and insane. Like, I've noticed this as well. Every single fan base says that Danny Rull is leaving us by like midway during this season.
That's jealousy.
And it's just so funny. Like, have you not read that he's signed a 3-year deal? Anyway, but I think with how we play and how we want to press, they're going to be very vulnerable to us with, looking at how they've played so far this season. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, fair enough, Jake.
I think if we play our game and not play the day and make it what it is at Leeds versus Wednesday, I think we'll do really well. I think you've got to pick up on their mistakes. They are what I saw versus West Brom and I saw the game versus Pompey, they give the ball away a lot. They constantly give the ball away a lot. So you want Bannon and Ingleson immediately going on them, pressing them high, making sure you get the ball. You want to make sure if you're not playing Valerie, Paul is in the same kind of mode he did versus Hull, where he's immediately on them. If you're going to do anything, have so many shots at Millier. I don't think he's a great keeper. There's a mistake in him every game. I think if you have a Jamal Lowe and say, like you say, he starts Ugbo for 45 minutes, I think there's a real good opportunity to try and be at them early doors.
I think we win it, believe it or not, because I think it's going to be a case of, and that's not me trying to say we're better than Leeds. Their squad is still better than ours, but
all depends what they do this week transfer window.
Exactly. If they bring players in this week, it's going to be rough, but they still need to bed in as well.
Yeah.
Danny will. You saw how furious he was. That squad are not in for a fun week,
No.
but also a case of. I think it's a case of you are sorting this out now, or you aren't in my side.
Yeah.
And I think that will be the rocket up the arse of a lot of these players. And I think we'll see a bounce back like we did after Huddersfield. You know, where we had that embarrassment at Huddersfield. You saw us fit the rest of the season. I think we'll win it. And I know some people are questioning that. I do think we can win it. And I think we'll
to turn up.
If we start winning, I'll be less confident.
If the Wednesday turn up today,
just because I think he's going to be in his head.
Lose to Ed, we could be having another hammering. But I think Danny will sit them down, calm them down, and go, look, we need to improve on this now. And what we've seen from last season, he's not one to go mental. He understands this is football. It happens. And he'll figure out a way of doing it.
Yeah. Leeds could very easily beat us. They've got quality. We are going to be the underdogs. But I back us to give it a bloody good go after that embarrassment. But yes, guys, that's all I've got for this week's episode of Talking Wednesday. Jack, anything to add before we leave today?
No, nothing to add today. Other than nice to be back on again.
Yeah, no, good. I saw you play some sort of weird, like not junkie, but I think he was a junkie or something in Fallout London because I watched a guy stream it, and you were this. I could definitely tell it was your voice. This guy just hanging around by a barrel, and you were like hunched over. And what's the character's name? He had a really weird name.
Well, I know that you know, friggin' Moist Critical, like
big
time.
No, I meant the character's name.
But but he I've appeared on loads of people like big time YouTubers friggin' stuff.
Yeah, you were. You had a character with like a cap on, and I can't remember the name of the character, but you were like, it was just you and the actual player character. Oh, it's really annoying.
Was I just selling? I know. There's one of the characters. There's just a nameless NPC that sells you.
No, he's got a name. This guy. But I just could tell it was your. I knew it was your voice because.
Oh right.
Because Soph was watching the stream and she went, "I know this voice. Is this Jack?" And I listened to it and I was like, "Yeah." That's
well,
Jack.
there is one of the dude that a lot of people have got me confused with a lot of the time. So it might be them. I don't know, but yeah.
Either that or he sounds exactly like you when you do your accents. So, Jake, have you got anything to add this week?
Just have a safe one. Let's see what happens next week, and we'll see where we are next week.
Indeed. Oh, yeah, I won't be on the podcast next weekend because after Leeds, I am very, very busy that weekend doing all sorts. So it will be these two
Dumb and
for
Dumber.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, it will indeed.
But we'll let you figure out which one of us is which.
But guys, take care, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.
Auf Wiedersehen.